All right, in the last video, we drew up our side profile, and in the um, next video, we're going to move on to drawing the cross-section profile. So we're going to start with that one, kind of the middle of the skateboard, and we're going to work our way up to getting them all done. So this is the tail or the nose area, and then the kind of around where the trucks live, and then down here will be the kind of the center of the skateboard, the middle of the skateboard. All right, so I'm going to go back to my drawing that I'm actually working on here. Before we move on, we should probably save this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. It'll ask you to name it. So I guess we'll just call it skateboard. Hopefully it'll take that for me since I've already named one skateboard in the past, I think. Click save. Okay, there we go. So skateboard version 0. All right, so at this point we need to start a new sketch. So I'm going to rotate around, orbit around so I can see that this plane a little bit easier. So I'm going to hold shift, click the zoom wheel, scroll around a bit. I can get to that plane a little easier now. So I'm going to right click, create, let's see, no, not edit sketch. I want to start a sketch, create sketch. There we go. Okay. So now we're working here, and we're going to start drawing. I'm going to draw half of the skateboard here, and then I'll just mirror it over to the other side. And before I really move on, I think I want to hide the sketch that's here so it doesn't kind of clutter up what I'm working on and accidentally stick to it maybe. So what I can do is come over, we're in the deck, that's the skateboard deck, that's where we're going to be drawing all of our stuff for now. I'm going to drop down the sketches area, and we're working, sketch 1 was the one we did before, so I'm going to click on the eyeball there to hide it, and you see it went away. So now the only thing we're working on or seeing is sketch 2, but there's nothing in here. All we see is the axes, right, the z-axis and the green one, whatever, X or Y, whatever it is. Okay, so I'm going to get my line tool out. I'm going to type L for line. Start at the origin. I'm going to click and let go. I'm going to drag it out, and I'm going to make the skateboard flat on the bottom. Total, it's going to be 2 1/4, but it's going to be 1 1/8 on either side. So I'm just going to make this 1.125 long. So I'm going to do 1.125 and hit enter. Okay, and again, we're only going to draw half of it, and then we'll mirror it over here. Next part is I'm just going to get an arc out here, just like part of a circle, and we're going to define how big that is, and that's going to we're going to make this skateboard extra wide because it's kind of representing where the bounds of the laminate would be, or the veneer, and then you cut your skateboard shape out of that, which would be a little bit smaller. So I'll go ahead and come up here. I think I'm going to drop down and look for arc, and I guess we'll go. I'm going to get a tangent arc actually. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it tangent to the line that I first start at. So when I click and let go here and drag it out, it's going to be tangent in this area. So I'm going to drag it out arbitrarily up here. Okay, and I'm going to click to set that down. All right, and you see that tangent icon shows up here, so we know that this transition here is tangent. Okay, so with that, I'm going to put in some dimensions. So I'm going to type D on the keyboard, and I'm going to make it from the center line to the very end of the arc. I'm going to make that 4 3/4. So click and let go at the center, click and let go on that point, bring it out. Remember, depending on where your mouse is, it's going to snap to a different kind of orientation. I want it to be horizontal, so click that, set that down. 4.75 to 4 3/4. I'll hit enter, and it kind of zooms way out up there. Okay, now I'm going to add a dot out here so I can put it in another dimension, and that will be the kind of where I measured the edge of the skateboard, so I know the arc has to go through that. So I'm going to put a point out here on this arc. So I'm going to get this drop down, grab a point, click and let go, click to set that there on there, and then I hit the escape key, and this thing, that point now is stuck on that arc. I don't want it. You might see a little triangle icon show up. That's at the midpoint of that arc. I don't want it to be there. If it did get stuck there, I would change it. I could just click on the triangle the same way as I could click on here, and I could right click and delete it. I don't have that, so I'm not going to do that now. We're running short on time, so I'm just in here as a 4.25, 4 1/4. So I'm going to hit D on the keyboard, click and let go, click and let go, make sure it's horizontal, click to set it down, 4.25, hit enter, and in the next video we'll talk about finishing or continuing on with this. So I'm going to stop this video now, and we'll pick up where we left off.